Well, you did. You did.
Wait, who won the chili contest? Megan. Who won? Oh, that's right.
That was good. 22.
Well, I did it with mom. My wife. Yeah, she said before she died, she goes with the dog. Yeah, we did.
So Eddie Room came in last. 7 chips. Morning.
How many people did you find were living in trailers in your survey?
30 or 40. Yeah. I mean, just from that.
But homeowners building a house.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think you do. That maybe people don't follow the page or something like that. So
That could be good for us.
hey, how's the massage today? Yeah, and you're here on time.
I know.
Why don't you take that one, Dee?
Morning.
I got that.
How are you
Hey,
doing?
Dad, say
hi. That would be good for us then, because I only knew of a couple.
I'm gonna ask you for sure about that. Yeah. See how that's going. Thank you. 1 minute, everybody.
This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Hello, America, and welcome to the #1 radio station in all of Fort Myers Beach. Beach Talk Radio. Here are your hosts, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Yeah, thank you. Big round of applause for me. Come on now, you could do better than that. You're out of place over there. They stole your seat. These are the Allers family. Oh, sorry. If there are people that are new to Wahoo Willies, this is our interview with the mayor. And it's a very serious time of the day, according to my wife. She doesn't want to have any fun. She keeps turning down my microphone. Pick up your mic, dear. Sit down next to me. Get close and let's cuddle. It's the holidays. Time for cuddling. Come on, dear.
I don't want to sit next to you.
Well, where's Dan going to sit then? It's his show.
Dan can sit in the middle.
No, that's weird. That would be weird. I don't want to sit next to Dan. It'd be very weird.
Well, maybe you could move over there.
Come on,
then.
sit over here.
Ugh.
Come on, have a seat.
All right.
So before we get to the star of the hour, the star of the show, and the star of the island, we want to thank everybody for coming to Margaritaville yesterday. We had birds flying through. 200 people come to the show yesterday. We had the biggest crowd ever for one of our shows. Yeah. Hope you saw the picture that we took. It's a gigantic crowd, and thanks to Gary Sandy from WKRP for sitting in for an interview, and thank you mostly to my wife, because we are so in love that you guys, you don't know how much we're in love. 30 years. I just wanted to say that in public because, you know, you look so cool with the glasses on. She looks
I
like
know,
she
I
could
got
jump
new
on a Harley
glasses.
right
I
now.
know, I have new glasses.
Yeah. You're supposed to be wearing the yellow glasses.
Now, listen, it's enough that I wore the yellow shirt.
Did anyone see my truck when they came in the front? Yes. A lot of good compliments about the baby truck yesterday.
Well, then these people can take it home with them and park it in there because now I have no place in the garage because the stupid truck has to be in the garage because we live in a homeowners association that doesn't allow you to do that.
See, people are watching
now,
online and they're cuddling now too. It's time to cuddle.
They can cuddle or canoodle all they want. That's not happening here.
Yes, I know.
But
you told
now
everybody last week that I
no
sleep on the couch. Thank you very much.
Yes.
When I went home, I was like, I can't believe you told everybody I sleep on the couch. Why would you do that?
You're lucky I'm allowing you to even sleep in the house.
Oh, see, why do you got to cut me down? Like every single show, you got to start out with insults. My feelings. I got to go home and cry it out every weekend because you hurt me so much. No, the other thing is thank you to Margaritaville and congratulations to them
for their
1 year anniversary and going through all those storms and seeing them sit there with smiles on their face, knowing that they were just whipping Benjamins out every time the storms came through and that pool filled with sand. But
well, it's not just it's not the natural storms that were created. It was it's all the other storms that were the man-made storms that were created.
Right, the lawsuits.
Preventing them from getting in there. Good
right.
Lord, what is she wearing?
Is that Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman still together after all these years. Wow, good for them. They're hugging dear. They're cuddling and canoodling.
They're sitting apart.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
You know, I've seen Keith Urban at the Ryman a couple times playing there. Yeah. So what was I saying? What were we talking about?
You were talking about Keith Urban and WKRP.
No, yesterday. What was it? The sand. Have you guys been out to the beach yet at the Times Square area in the Lynn Hall Park?
That's a technique for when your spouse starts to get early onset Alzheimer's. Is you just start rolling it back, the conversation.
It's not so early anymore. It's moving on to a little bit later in stage. Yes. So the beach renourishment is unbelievable. I'm slurring already. And if you go to Times Square, if you haven't been to Times Square, take a walk out, just like Chad said when we were doing the walk around before they put the sand out. That mother grabber is like 150, 200 feet out from that dump, the Terry Prasad dump with all the broken cement things there that doesn't have a fence around it anymore. It's just got yellow caution tape. And now the sand is level with it. So the kids can actually play on the sand and then jump into the broken cement blocks if they want to and have a good old time because nothing is blocking that. But, you know, whatever. But the beach renourishment is now down to Margaritaville, I think.
Do you feel better?
I do. I really wish he would clean that up and knock down the Junkanoo building. I mean, it really is time. It's 2+ years. Don't you think it's time that you clean up a little bit? You don't want to say anything to that, dear?
No, it took you like 15 years to clean off the top of your dresser. So I think
there was a lot of dust under the dresser. And then I'm
telling you, he's had this dresser just is that the laugh is that it's a guy thing.
And then I had
he's got like papers from the lady asked me at our insurance place for the wind mitigation report. I said, I have it right here. She goes, that's from 2011. You might as well throw that out.
When I pulled the dresser out, there was a digital clock behind it. Like who uses a clock anymore? Somehow I used to have a clock back in the day and it fell behind the dresser. And the other thing was there was an AM translator on top of the dresser, an AM translator, AM radio translator. I don't know who sent that to me. But yeah, it's totally cleaned off now. I mean, I think I'm getting prepared for death. Like I'm cleaning up all the shit that I don't need anymore. And
either that or you're pregnant and you're nesting.
No.
And in that case, somebody should call either the Pope or the National Enquirer.
Because of the chest pain and now I have neck pain and the whole thing. So if I keel over one day, she knows where she didn't give a shit that I was having chest pains.
I do appreciate.
She said, "Where's the life insurance?" That was the only question she had.
And
Where's
I appreciate that you found it. I got to up that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, enough about us. 7 minutes of nothing, talking about nothing. Now,
What are you trying to steal the Seinfeld thing? There?
no,
A show about nothing.
No, we are going to talk to Dan now, the mayor of Fort Myers Beach, on Sunday, the day before Rubber Stamp Monday is coming up tomorrow. We'll get into that, but
Dan's already.
I know he's pissed.
He's worn
He's
out.
tired.
He's worn out.
He was cleaning up last night at the tree festival, the women's club. Oh, the schoonovers are here.
He's been busy.
Yeah, he's a busy bee.
That was a heavy
I got you.
sigh.
Yeah, it was good. It's like, back to the couch. If you had a bigger truck, you could put an air mattress in the back and you could sleep right in the garage.
No, I have merchandise in there. I have nowhere to
stay
sleep.
warm.
Yeah.
I got to take these off. I can't.
So, the first question I have for you is tomorrow you're going to you're going to discuss hiring a consultant at $7,500 a month to
Well,
work.
you're jumping right in. You're not even welcoming it.
All right, let's back up. How was the
the
tree festival yesterday, Dan?
Let's start with something a little
Well,
lighter.
It was a long week. The women worked very hard, and so did the husbands to pull it off. But it was a great event. It was fun last night. There was a lot of a good turnout. I don't know what they made for the trees and all of that for the nonprofits,
We're gonna get the
but
numbers.
I'm sure they'll have it the next day or so. But we were there till about midnight last night, 11:30 midnight, something like that. So it went on for a while, and there's a lot of cleanup to do today.
We didn't end up. We're unable to go. Well, I was unable to go. You went the first.
We did an hour show there. Yeah,
But to see the trees,
they were really nice.
were really, really nice. But I have to say, and I'm not just blowing smoke up your skirt. That wood tree you did,
very nice.
or you're killed.
Right.
It was pretty.
Yeah, thanks.
I was impressed. How did you do that?
So I don't know.
I mean, did you get
You don't know how
an
you
idea
did
like
it?
on Pinterest or something?
No, so I wanted to
because
do.
Dan's on Pinterest.
Yeah,
Is anyone on Pinterest anymore?
Yeah, I'm not on Pinterest.
Well, she's at the Goodwill.
No, I wanted to build a wooden tree, so I just typed wooden tree into Google, and
it
the
was
first
like
picture
a
that came up,
spirally
there was a
thing?
little short one that I don't know if it was like a decoration or what, and it gave me the idea. So basically, all it is a bunch of 1x3s with a hole drilled in the center and a 1-inch conduit through the middle, and then you can kind of fan it out.
And it only took you 2 days.
It's like 2.5.
Do you think you
days or
could do
so.
that? Because I
No,
really liked
no.
it.
If I wanted to do a little bit more to it, I just ran out of time.
Why didn't you tell me? I would have bid on it if you liked it that much.
The
you
gnomes,
could've-
right? What was the name of it?
Who would have known?
Gnome.
And
would've
what
known?
was the final amount his tree went for, Miss Vice President of the Women's Club over there? $1,200. How much did
Wow.
you have invested in it?
Oh, probably 400 or 500 maybe.
400 or 500. So that's 700-ish, right? Has my math okay on that?
Here we go.
And so the money went to who?
FMB Tip Jar. So
Oh, okay.
So
Kristen
it's
was
a
on the show.
Yep, Kristen was on the show. She started that shortly after Hurricane Ian, and all the money that goes to that.
Yep.
Was it after COVID? It
Yeah,
was
they
COVID.
started-
You're right. It was after COVID.
Yeah, they were on the show.
Wow.
They started FMB Tip Jar during COVID, and it wasn't a 501c3, and they were accepting money and then giving it back to the servers and the DJs and the bartenders on the island. Now it is a 501c3, so you can go on fmbtipjar.com and you can donate right to the organization and pick out, like, it's going to be Erin's birthday next week and she's with child. So if you wanted to go on FMB Tip Jar and help her the baby thing out, whatever, I don't know how much money do you need for the baby, Erin? She's not even paying
Erin.
attention.
No, listen.
Does she have-
I think
how much money do you need to have a baby? A lot of money, she
Okay.
says. So.
Yeah, I donated a good portion of my leftover campaign funds to that as well. So
Oh, you did?
yeah. So it was-
I should look online. Has everybody taken all their money and dished it out?
I don't know if they have or not. I haven't looked.
Okay.
I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it all goes back to
Now, did
the-
everything go without a hitch last night? Because I heard a little scuttlebutt that there
We're
We're
might have
not
been.
getting into that.
No.
Well, the answer to that is no, because I didn't even come close to placing in the chili cook-off. We got smoked pretty good. I knew we were doomed when we walked in. We don't put any time into decorating the table, because they have the best decorated. So Bruiser and I just, we just leave the table. It's kind of like if you go to a barbecue cook-off,
Right.
you always look for that rusted out trailer because that's going to have the best barbecue, not
Really?
the fancy shiny monkey, right? At least in most cases. So we didn't do any of that, and we walked in, and Margaritaville's there with their executive chefs, and they've got this thing. I'm like, oh, we're doomed.
And they didn't win.
No, they did. They didn't win first place, but they did. But yeah, all three companies won first, second, and third.
I already forgot. Oh, the Whale won first place
Whale
in the
and
chili
Sandy Bottoms won
contest.
first.
Alex King came in third.
second. And
Second.
then Margaritaville came
Margaritaville
in third.
came in
Yeah.
third. And unfortunately, Eddie Rude came in last place. So he was sending me pictures. I don't know if you know who Eddie Root is. He built a walkover down on the south end, him and Kurt. So he entered the chili contest, and he was sending me pictures all week. He was so excited about being in the chili contest, pictures of his oven, and he apparently brought 7 gallons of chili last night.
He had a lot. He
And he went home with 6.
It was amazing.
So his chili was that bad. He went home with 6 gallons.
You know, you have to be careful. You know, when the women's club was still, the building was still there, and this was going on over at their property. You know, you got to kind of coerce some people in. So Bruiser and I have always made a special eggnog that when like Joanne Champ was on
oh wow, that's a while ago.
Wow.
She had more eggnog than any person I've ever seen. She was having fun. So every year we just kept doing it. Well, then someone brought Fireball, and then someone's bringing Jello shots, and it's like, so we probably should have kept it under wraps.
Yeah, he's talking. Will you massage my neck? It's bugging the crap out of me.
Didn't you take that medicine this morning?
I took like a 700. What is it? What was it?
It's 800 milligram Motrin.
Oh man, I don't know what's going on with the left side of my whole body. It's like I'm having chest pain right now. Every time Dan brings up the chili thing, I'm kidding. I'm not having chest pain. No, it's my neck for some reason. Like
you are pain in
turning this.
Wow, he laid it right out there for you. Perfect.
So
laid that one up.
Yesterday, okay. So now we'll save the bike parade thing to the end. So let's talk about tomorrow's meeting. Should be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how many people show up. But a couple agenda items that I noticed. You're going to hire a consultant to work with FEMA, or I shouldn't say you're going to hire. Andy, the town manager, would like the town council to hire a FEMA consultant. Do you know any skinny on that?
It's not necessarily just a FEMA consultant. It's simple. Like Ron Book is our local lobbyist up in Tallahassee. It'd be the equivalent of Ron Book in DC to help lobby for us. So yes, FEMA is obviously part of it, but it's more than just that. It's legislation that we're trying to get through to help us with some of our infrastructure projects. When Congressman Donalds was down here and had an open house type of thing, you were able to go in and he present what you could get help from the federal government. So I
like
believe
a professional person that goes to Washington.
Well, they're in Washington. They are, they're.
What are you saying?
Sorry, nothing.
No.
Go ahead.
They have offices all over Florida, in like 8 cities in Florida, and one in DC.
Robinson, they're well known, well respected. I've talked to some people that have worked with them out of there.
Yeah.
They are certainly, and if you look, lobbyists, they do a lot of help. Just look what Ron Book has helped us do since the storm, and what we pay him, we've been rewarded, 1,000-fold, if you will. I mean, it's so yes, they cost money, but they do produce results. And if they don't, then you just move on. Right. But I think we'll see how it goes. But if the manager thinks that's the best course of action for us, then we have gotten some headway up there. The last 2 years that we've gone up to try to lobby and meet with our delegation up there. So it's a different year now. We'll see. There's a different leader coming in, and I don't know if we'll make any difference or not, but we'll see.
Did you watch the Army-Navy game yesterday?
I did not.
He was there at the Army-Navy game. That was a fun game to watch.
We were watching that. We were just floored. This happens as you get older, and you're looking at the football players, and
they
it's
look like they're 12 years old.
Looks like junior high.
I wish I could remember the name of the lady last night. She came up and talked to us at the chili table, and she showed me a picture. Her husband was at the Army-Navy game because one of their sons is in the Army, one's in the Navy.
Oh, no kidding!
Wow.
And he was in his uniform, so it was a pretty cool.
Were they
picture.
both playing football?
That's what I believe.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
She said her husband couldn't be there.
You know what I like about that game is yet they totally respect obviously they respect each other's side. It was I mean I don't really watch that much college football, although it is interesting this year with 12 teams in a playoff thing.
I don't even know who won. I don't even know who won.
The team that was 8-3 won. I think Navy was 8-3. Army was 11-1.
Navy.
The only
Randy Sandelli's probably pretty happy.
The best part about that game is the beginning. Watching the national anthem and the flyover, and seeing how disciplined the kids they are kids.
Probably
the kids in the
kneeling
audience
at the flag, was there?
There were no kneeling. I'm sure pretty much if anyone kneeled in that building, they would have been shot on sight. No, but it was at the end. At the end,
that's what we have him for. And we'll go right off.
Yeah.
See the line and right over it.
So the other thing on the agenda before we get to the big one is the trailer thing. You guys are going to consider revoking every single temporary use permit that has been issued. And the confusion that I had was, let's say somebody is living in their trailer because they've been trying to rebuild their home. They have a permit to live in their trailer in their driveway. Okay. Are they going to be asked to leave?
Well, that's what we're gonna have to get clarification on, because if you actually look through the whereas clauses that are in the resolution, it talks about the definition of structure when it comes to the floodplain definition, and then it also talks about mobile homes. And nowhere in there does it say anything about a trailer or recreational vehicle. That doesn't fall under the modular homes, but it potentially does. And under the definition of structure, it doesn't fall under that. But in the letter that we received from FEMA, it said any unpermitted structure, any basically what shouldn't have been permitted to be in the special flood zone, which before the storm would have included RVs because that was in our ordinance. And that's what I keep talking about. We would like to get written verification from FEMA one way or another. Does this include because it was pre-storm, or is it that we can keep them? Or we certainly want to be able to keep people who are trying to rebuild their houses in their recreational, their trailers.
Just to drill down on that, let's say you have people that are trying to rebuild their house. And they're in the process. Maybe there's some pilings in the ground where it's clear. And then you have people that don't have a permit for anything and they're still living in the trailer. I mean, you're going to try and separate that out.
Well, I think if you actually read through the ordinance, and again, I think this is where we'll get clarification tomorrow. If you read through the ordinance and how it was
the town ordinance,
the town ordinance, yes, the town ordinance, and how it was changed. I think it was March after the storm, somewhere in there. Where we allowed the uses that weren't allowed for, but they were for 18 months and then they had to be renewed. Well, a lot of them weren't renewed. They didn't come in and renew them. So there aren't going to be any more new temporary structure permits issued. I will probably almost
right. And then nobody's going to start living in a trailer today. So that makes sense.
The questions I'll have are some people I've talked to, their permit says it's valid until September of 2025. So does that mean that they're going to get revoked? These are all questions we'll have to ask.
So are you doing this because of the way FEMA came down? Is it a result of FEMA saying
it was always coming? It was always coming.
But in the ordinance, he copies in the agenda packet are copies of the FEMA letter. So it has to do something, doesn't it? Have to do something with FEMA cutting off the 25%.
Well, if you remember, we had passed in the ordinance, the last ordinance. We had all agreed that September of 2025.
Yes,
that we were going to end all the trailers. So you have plenty of time to know what to do. Obviously, the letters said November 18th, and that's why we were pushing to try to get the extension until the start of next hurricane season, which they said no. Okay, but to say it's specifically because of response to that letter, no, it was always going to come. Maybe it came sooner, but it was always going to happen, and we had already voted that it was going to happen. So I think tomorrow we need to get that clarification. What exactly, and we've sent our questions up through our delegation in DC, and we've sent them directly to FEMA.
So why would you
they responded?
They have not responded.
So why would you create an ordinance to revoke the temporary use permits if you don't have all those answers? How
we haven't voted to do that. It's on the agenda to talk
to.
It. But again, I think the clarification needs to be made is, are we talking about revoking obviously any future permits, temporary permits? Are we talking about obviously the ones that don't fit within the structure or the modular homes definition of floodplain? Obviously those have to go. So we just need to get a little more clarification from Nancy and staff to find out exactly what their recommendation is. I think I can't speak for my fellow council members, but I certainly hope people living in their homes. Now we all know that there's people renting out trailers to people that shouldn't be there, right? So do we have to have a discussion about
different stories?
They've got plans submitted, or you know what I mean? I think there's different
degrees. But it says in
degrees.
there that you can't be doing that, right?
You can't be doing it.
So just to a couple of different angles to this octopus is that you had DeSantis come out and say, I'm going to give people 3 years to live in their trailer, right? I mean, there was some, I'm paraphrasing, but
how it kind of all came about is, we passed the ordinance. FEMA came and said they were going to bring the trailers. Then they said, well, we can't give you the trailers because our regulations say we can't do it. Sorry, our bad. They took them away. Governor DeSantis said, oh, watch this, hold my beer. We're going to bring some in and we're going to let people in. So they started their own program for 18 months. That has passed. I think there's still some people. I think the trailers were given to some people. I've heard. I don't know. We didn't get one. We don't know. But I've heard some people either bought or were given their trailer. Are they still living in them? We don't know. We need to really know how many people are still living in them. Yes. We need to really crack down on people. If you're renting them, that wasn't the intent, right?
Right. You can't be renting it to your contractor that's building your house. And that was never part of the rule.
Every and everybody likes to talk about light duty trucks, right? Well, if you know anything about trucks, technically a light duty truck is anything a 3,500 or less. A medium duty truck is like a 450 up to, I think, a 650. And then a heavy duty truck is a semi. So a light duty truck, there's not an RV or there's not a recreation trailer on the island that can't be pulled off with an F-350 or a 3,500 Chevy or Dodge. So technically, are those considered light duty trucks?
Yeah, but I think,
or is it a half-ton pickup truck?
I think that's totally off. Isn't that totally off the table now? Whether your trailer can be pulled
Well,
with
I'm
a truck?
talking specifically about residential,
Yes,
recreational trailers.
but attaching it to a truck doesn't seem to be part of the conversation
And does it
anymore.
include? Does it
What?
again?
It's just so.
Does it include like moms, for instance? We got a letter from moms that they've got 2 trailers that they can move off the island very quickly. Food. Does it include those? Because they can technically be pulled off with a light duty truck, but again, pre-Ian, according to our ordinance, it wasn't allowed. We changed the rules to allow it. So is that? I think it's a fair question. I have gone round and round with some
So
residents
when they
about
say, when
the
FEMA
letter's
says
clear, but I
stick
don't
to your
think it is.
ordinance, what do they stick to your rules?
Yeah, was
Well,
it the rules
that's-
before you
was it
changed
the
them, or
rules
the rules
before
after
or
you
the
changed
rules
them?
after?
And if you read that number 5, structures that were improperly permitted to be within the special flood zone or special flood hazard zone.
Right.
Well, technically they weren't supposed to be there before the storm. We changed the rules to allow them. So I read it that way, and I know other people read it completely different. They say, well, this says you could do it. Well, you have to go by what's in their letter, and it's very vague in my opinion. And I think we're asking the right questions to try to get answers, which is we've asked before. It's not that we haven't actually.
I guess I don't read it as vague. I read it as you put stuff in that
I don't read it as
zone
vague either, but
that you should not have put in that zone. Get them out of there. I don't think that's the way I see it. I
That's my
think FEMA has been very clear, and the town seems to be trying to help people. I get it, but you're not going to get the discount back if
But
you
I will
allow
tell
the
you-
trailers.
and
But
this
don't
is-
you,
this is
aren't
why
you
I
on
want- this is
probation
why I
for
want
2
it right.
years no matter
This
what?
is why I want it in writing. The reason we want it in writing is we have been told, staff has been told from FEMA representatives to their face that recreational vehicles are not an issue. Food trucks are not necessarily issues. It's the like the goods, like the ones that have been listed, the goods, the container boxes, things like that. Those are the issues. That's been told to staff in person from our FEMA representation. The letter doesn't say that. If they put that in writing, then we can say, at least you have told us, but I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to say, yes, it's okay, because technically, is it okay? Because they didn't bring their trailers here because they're a
They said it
recreational
wasn't
vehicle
right.
and it's in a high hazard flood zone. So I don't know. This is not a blame
But
game.
you
This is
are-
a clarification. And Senator Scott has said since the very first minute we've had him involved, you have to get everything in writing from FEMA. Everything has to be in
But they're
writing.
not doing it. They're not. You say they're not doing it. Although I read the letter.
We asked very specific 13, 15 questions, whatever it was, very specific questions.
How long does it take for somebody to get back to you? I mean, it
Well, look
doesn't.
at the last one. The last one took 2 months.
Well, are they waiting for the administration to change?
I don't know. I can't speak.
Do you
for
think
what
this
FEMA's doing.
ordinance tomorrow should be tabled until you have all those questions answered?
No,
I mean, I honestly think people are out there like wondering what to do.
Right.
Well, hopefully we get some clarification tomorrow so people do know what to do
From who?
from our discussion.
Oh, okay. So somebody else in the group is going to know more answers about that than you do. Is that what you're thinking? Maybe the manager? Is that what you're
Well,
thinking?
I think the council has to make the decision. Do we want to allow residential trailers to stay, or do we? I'm just telling you how I
Okay.
interpret what the letter said.
if you,
I can't speak for the other 4 members of the council
True.
and how
All right.
they
because that would be
interpret the letter.
unethical.
Well, it would be. I can't read their minds, so
No,
we'll have a discussion
You got
tomorrow,
it.
and then we'll
Kevin
take
got
a
it.
vote. And
So if you allow them to stay in their trailers, you're violating the FEMA letter.
are we?
I read it as you
Because
are.
if you look at it the
Sure.
other way, nowhere in there does it also say that they can't stay.
Okay,
It
so
just says
let-
unpermitted structures that were
let's rewind. Dan.
Improperly permitted.
properly permitted.
Let's
So
rewind.
how many? Let me just. Can I get?
Can you
I
ask a question, please? Be
Yes.
part of the show today.
How
It's
many?
just me and Dan
well,
today.
you're just okay.
Gee.
Do you know how many improperly? Do you have a good definition of what improperly permitted is?
If you look at what our code of ordinances or what our ordinance was pre-storm,
You do.
every single one, every single trailer.
Huh?
He said you had the
Red
red,
coconut.
coconut.
That's no, we're talking about after Ian.
So-
After Ian, how many are left, or how many structures that are there would be considered
So if you go
Not
to,
to be
I just want to make this point. Yeah. So you're saying that every single one now is improperly permitted?
If you go by what the code said pre-Ian, yes.
Your code, not
Yes,
your
'cause
code,
our
the
code-
town's code.
We did not allow recreational vehicle or trailers for people to live in.
you
Right.
did not allow people to have recreational vehicles to park on their
Yes.
property unless it was dead storage. That's what it says in the
Yes.
land development
Right.
code. What
And
is
so-
dead storage? Does that mean like a dead body, or what is dead
I don't know.
storage?
I don't know.
have
Can
no
I
idea
get
what
one of
that
those?
means.
Who's got one of
I
those?
think that I
I
think
have
that
some
meant,
dead
like,
storage I gotta
that
put
meant,
in.
like storage.
What is dead storage?
I don't know.
Don't get off topic.
Well, I mean, that's in your code, Dan. Read the code, man.
I can't tell you what they mean.
Dead storage. Is there anybody know what dead storage is? I have no idea. Like,
Well,
does that
then
mean
it-
you can't use it anymore? Or
I think it just means storage.
man,
Just,
why would you?
Not
That doesn't
people.
even make any sense
but
to
you,
me.
that you can't live in it.
I get that part, but why would you allow somebody to have a trailer on their property to store things?
Well, you can't store people in them.
Why not just say shed? Well, you can have a shed on your property anyway.
You see,
moving
this
on.
is what
Okay,
I'm
so
saying.
okay, so my point was
everything right now. Then it does seem
if
pretty
you're
clear.
trying to be technical,
I'm not. I'm
if-
just.
Yes, we are.
Every trailer,
Has
every
to go.
food truck, every food trailer
dumpster,
was not a Conex box.
porta
Any-
potty.
I don't know if porta potties falls within that, but
Stay on. Yeah, the people
yeah.
things.
Well, I wouldn't want to live in
Any-
a porta potty. I know you live in them one every once in a while, but-
I'm in there pretty regularly. As long as it's
No,
soft toilet paper,
we need
I
to
can
get
live
him
my
a
life
phone
in a
in
porta
there.
potty.
No,
Some
so
electricity.
that's the clarification I think we'll have to have with the discussion tomorrow. Is it you without
It
a
sounds
direct
like you
answer?
already know the answer.
Yes, I agree with
Well,
you, dear.
that's my interpretation of what that number 5.
Okay,
meant.
so let's have a
Oof.
town council meeting
That's
here.
rough,
Pretend
right?
we're
No,
at
we
the town
can't.
council.
We're nobody
And
else
we'll
there.
have your brothers here. By the
Yeah.
way, you guys don't even look alike. You know, do you look alike? You got to stand together after the show. He looks like he's ready to kick my ass with all his tattoos on him. How old is that?
He
How old
was
is
the menace. He was the one that threw knives at us. He
Really?
He was the
Oof.
one.
You're the oldest.
Yeah. Yeah. He
and
was.
he's the youngest.
Yeah. He was the one that would poke until you punched him. Then
Yeah.
he'd run to mom. Mom.
Oh man, what a
She
sissy
looks
Mary
like
you
she
are,
could
boy.
see
Or-
through any of that.
Mommy,
or he would
mommy.
get so mad he threw a knife at me once.
He did?
Yeah.
Well, his father threw a fork at him and it stuck right in his
Here,
knee.
let me tell that story real quick. So we used to eat dinner around the table like a family. We used to be a family at one point growing up, where you would actually sit at the dining room table and eat dinner every night. Who does that anymore? We never eat together. We
Thank
we
God.
ate together today for the first
Yeah.
time in a week. And so I didn't finish the meatballs or something because my mom used to make some kind of pasta every Sunday. She'd stand around the stove on Saturday making the
Sauce.
the sauce. Then
The
the next day it was
gravy.
unbelievable. She called it gravy. Right. And so I didn't finish eating it or something. And my dad just whipped the fork right at my fucking knee and it stuck right in my knee. And I never let it didn't hurt or anything, but I'm walking around with a fork sticking out of my leg around the house.
Yeah. We used to. I remember Craig. We were roughhousing in our house we lived in St. Paul. We used to have this thing. It was blue. We called it the space chair. It was a hard plastic, and you sat in it. It was super comfortable, and it swiveled. And we were all wrestling around. And was it you that broke your arm? I couldn't remember which one of it was. One
Did
of
you
us
go run it to your mommy
Oh
first
no! One
before
of
you
us
broke your arm?
One of us flipped him, and his forearm turned into an S because it hit the. It was pretty bad. It was pretty. I remember looking at.
Can
I
you
thought it
turn
was
your
Craig,
arm
though.
now still?
That was. Let me ask your mom.
That's probably
something.
why. Well, that explains why he was throwing knives.
When
at me.
this is like my dad threw a fork at me back in those days. It didn't matter. I mean, now you'll get arrested for something like that.
Back in the days.
When the boys were growing up, did you beat their ass for being in trouble? Huh?
If she had to.
Yeah. Who got the most beatings out of these three? Who was the worst troublemaker? I didn't ask you,
The
bro.
slowest one.
Which one?
Good answer.
Who's your favorite child, by the way, out of the three? Which one do you love the most? Come
There
on,
you go.
that's not true. Who do you hug more than the others? He looks like he needs more hugs than Dan, right? You don't see him a lot. We see him every Sunday. That's enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your problem,
What?
not
Feel
hers.
love, feel love.
So, back to what we were talking about.
So every trailer's got to go.
we'll find out tomorrow.
I feel like we've gone a long way
We
around
do.
to just say that.
Yeah, we went around the hog's ass to get the ham sandwich.
No, so before the change you made an
What if people
ordinance.
don't go?
What do you mean?
What if,
Yeah, what are you going to do? You're going to code violate them? They're trying to
Yeah.
rebuild their house?
I mean, because you're on, not you, the town is on probation for 2 years, right? There's no getting off it for 2 years.
You're on probation. 2 years start when you come off of probation. That's to be back in the CRS. That's to be back to get your discount
So,
rating.
but you have 2 years, no matter what. There's
Right.
nothing you can do.
From
Even
April
if you
1st,
did
right?
everything right, you
Right.
can't get on as soon as you get it right. You have
Right.
to wait those 2 years. So what's to prevent people from going, well,
We're off
I mean,
anyway.
we're off now for the next
Well-
2 years. Might as well stay.
Well, I think the confusion that some
I'm not
people maybe
advocating
have
that. I'm
is
just
there's
saying.
the National Flood Insurance Program, and then there's a community rating system. They're
Oh,
although they're
getting in the
one and
weeds now.
same. So the National Flood Insurance Program is your flood insurance. That is, if there's a storm, FEMA
Right.
comes and helps with the beach renourishment. They help clean up all the debris. The community rating system is you show how you can be a more resilient community, and you
You
can
get the
move from
discount.
10 down to 0.
Mhm.
Right.
And the more the further down from 10, it's backwards. Instead of going
Right.
up, you go down. So the closer you get to 0, the bigger discount you get on
Mhm.
that insurance.
Mhm.
So right now we've lost the CRS rating. We're still in the National Flood Insurance Program. People could still get insurance.
But no
Yeah, they
discount.
just have-
They
right.
just can't get the discount. So it's important to not get kicked out of the program. You don't
Yeah.
want to ever be kicked out of
Because then you won't even be able to get those big black
and I
trucks.
forgot there, I have a list at home. I started looking up other places that had gone through the same situation, and you come back from it. You can come back from it. It's
Yeah.
not,
As long as you get rid of the trailers.
well,
One,
it's
and
not
make sure
just
everybody
that.
has a permit.
It's not just that. There's other things. People want to just say it's the trailers and
But it's
and-
the
and people want-
unpermitted work
and
that
peop-
was
and
done.
people want to say we just thumbed our nose up at FEMA. It's 100% not true.
No,
100%.
but you
not
were
true.
trying to help the residents.
We,
You really
we were at the beginning. Yes, we were trying to help the residents. We asked for the extension to go to the start of next hurricane season. That would have allowed our businesses and our people building their homes to get back in their homes, to get their businesses through season. They came back and said, no, okay,
Right.
that's fine. We asked, you said no. They were respectful. We were respectful. We're still working forward. There were other things in there. Numbers, I think it was 2 and 3. They talked about crosswalk assessment. And they talked about that. Well, FEMA gave us 1,300 or so properties that they paid out. They paid 1,300 claims out and then gave them to us and said, we have to verify that it was done correctly. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing. At
Mhm.
least, so we don't have staff to vet 1,300 properties. Even if you did 2 a day, you wouldn't have made the November 18th deadline, and if you started the day after the storm. So we're trying to work through that, and I don't think that they expect us to get through all of them. This is where I think that the lobbyists will certainly help.
Sure.
So-
we obviously have Jacobs Group, and
Last
we're very
question on
vested
this,
in
No,
dear.
no, all the trailers go, and then if they don't go, is
And-
there
and
a process
and
in
I
place?
want to clarify one more thing on the FEMA thing. Jacobs Group, who represents us and other municipalities in Lee County, have told us, we don't know what you did wrong. You did everything else that every other municipality did. The only thing we could think is maybe they just didn't understand your verbiage. But they said our plans were all pretty much the same. If you notice, they accepted our plan and how we're going to enact our plan. That was fine. But it's that 2 and 3, is that the 1,300 properties that they gave us 2 months ago, 3 months ago?
I don't know. Well, you pay them as a consultant, and they're probably trying to make sure they're covering their ass that they did everything right. The way I see it
But
is
they did it for other municipalities and they didn't lose theirs.
okay, but
So
I think
I don't
if
think
at the end of the day you're looking at they called out La Ola. I hate to say that because we love Tom. They called out the trailers, those big containers that are in the high velocity zone, and they're still
Mm-hmm.
there. And I think FEMA looks at it like, dude, your trailers are still there, and we've told you repeatedly. And
fair enough.
and everybody on the other side of that's like, if it wasn't for Tom being there, Times Square would be a dud, and that's true.
Imagine if these condos, let's just use the condos. We've talked enough about, Lola and businesses. Talk about the condos who still haven't been open after 2 years. The Connex trailers that are sitting there that are storing their product to be able to build these condos back. They have to go. And we haven't, as far as I know, we haven't gotten any really pushback. They're obviously not happy. It's going to cost the condo associations more money now because they have to take those off and they're going to have to do other things. And so it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I
I went to Leonardo Arms. The day that you were going to be there, but you got a call for work, and I walked by one of the boxes, and I know they were storing stuff in there to rebuild. They're still trying to rebuild. And I said, "What are you guys going to do with that? It's got to go." They're like, "I don't know what we're going to do." I mean, so there's still some of that.
Some are going to, I think, get semi trailers and bring. But again, is that
legal?
Trailer, is that legal? I don't.
It's just money out the door.
You know, and this is going to increase traffic. It's going to do all the things. Because
Yeah.
now you guys
I
are
would
gonna have
think
to
you
go
could
on and
park
off
a
the island
semi
and-
on your property.
Yeah, how much
I
is
don't-
that going to cost?
I
Where do you
don't
get a
know.
semi?
I don't
And
know.
anyway, so to be continued tomorrow on
Yeah,
Rubber
we'll have the
Stamp
discussion
Monday.
tomorrow, and I think hopefully we'll have clear direction after the meeting as to what people can expect with their recreation.
I hope so.
I do too.
hope so.
Yes.
I do too.
I don't know.
Well, one way or another, we're going to make a decision, right?
Yeah.
So
Or table
the
it.
decision will get. I think the decision is going to get made
Yeah.
tomorrow. I'd be shocked if it gets tabled, but
Okay.
you know,
All right. So the
it'll
other
be interesting to hear what everybody else's interpretation of.
So Dan, as I was doing a quick walk around yesterday, the sand is amazing. The beach renourishment is amazing, and it's just so awesome to see how wide that beach is becoming, all the way from the north end down now to Margaritaville. But then you walk right on the corner lot, and Prasad's lot is broken. I mean, not even the concrete is picked up. Why not?
Well, I think if you watch the M&P meeting, I think we gave pretty clear direction to staff what we wanted to see happen in Times Square. We need to, in order for Times Square to start redeveloping, we have to take care of our property, right? And that's kind of the same that we dealt with tearing houses down when our building was still sitting there. So we need to get started. And if you notice, I think we all agreed. We told staff, let's get moving on this Times Square, our portion of the property. That includes making sure that everybody's violated if they haven't been violated.
So, but let's be serious, Dan, just for a second.
If you remember, I can't remember if it was Scott or Karen asked the question, or I don't remember who asked the question, but it was about, I think it was Karen asked the question that you know, could they do the same thing that we're dealing with the parking lot? Can they violate them? He pays a fine, and then it just starts all over again. That's what we
But
need to
Terry
figure out.
comes to the town council meeting as a victim. He always comes to the town
Well,
council
it's
meeting.
Terry's choice.
But when they were trying to build this monstrosity Times Square thing with the pictures, and he would come to the town council meeting and cry, we got to move faster. We got to move faster. And here he is. Not only is that property just sitting there, and I don't, everybody has a reason,
You're
right?
harping, though.
But it doesn't have a fence around it. It has caution tape around
Well,
it.
and I think you see people and they talk all the time. When are you going to get to moving in Times Square? When are you going to move in Times Square? The town is not holding any property owner up in Times Square from developing.
No,
True.
I think if
That's
you
true.
put the road back in and
Put the road
connect it
back
to
in.
Lynn Hall Park
I
and
don't-
divert some traffic.
Yeah.
I like my point is anybody that owns property there can develop. They can develop what they can build
But
by
if they're
right,
not going
or they can
to
come and ask for
put a
something.
road in there and
There used to
divert,
be a road.
let
Everybody,
the traffic
Used
flow.
to be the road, yeah. This
I
used
mean-
to be the main entrance into the island. The people didn't know that, but
yeah, it would come right over here, the drawbridge, go
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
to the.
yep, then
You
turn
look at
left
look for
Because
Google
stuff
old
doesn't
Peach
seem
timeout
like it's going to
pictures.
be built over there. I don't know if it should be built that close. Just put the road in and
Yeah, I
make
mean,
it easier for people
At least
to get
it'll,
around.
it'll help with the traffic. Anyway, so it's just, and then the Junkanoo building, and he also owns, and I know that dilapidated building. That guy is I know he's got a lawyer involved in the whole thing. It's just there are some things
Well,
that just seem like you can take care of them
it's-
if you wanted to.
Well, yes, the property owner can certainly take care of their own property, and they should. The town can't go in this case, we can't go into the old Dairy Queen and just put a bulldozer to it. You got to go through the due process. You have to.
There's nothing to bulldoze. He could just pick
Well,
up the cement
it's-
pieces so nobody gets hurt.
So when do you start on the due process?
Well,
Like when does that get
that's-
started?
What I
Is that a
try
good
to talk
question,
to these
dear?
property owners
Thank
and
you.
encourage them. You know, we've come a long way since Ian, right? People have worked so hard. This place, people getting back in their homes. I would hate to see a news story about someone getting hurt because a property owner didn't take the action to take care of their property. We can't do it for you unless we go through a long, painful process to get there, which we don't want to do. We don't want to be big government that comes in and, big bad wolf blows your house down. Take care of your property. If someone gets in, I couldn't live with myself if I had a property that someone could get hurt on. I would feel horrible for me. I'd feel horrible for the family. I'd feel horrible for the residents. I'd feel horrible for everyone.
And the thing that the reason I brought it up now is because the beach is almost level.
Yeah.
Now, you remember that building? You'd have to step down to get out of that building when it was standing there. But the sand is now level with the broken pieces of cement. And so it makes it easier. At least put the fence back up. If you're not going to clean it up, put the fence back up so nobody can get in there.
I haven't been down.
The beach is amazing down there.
Maybe
It really is.
I don't know.
Have you heard anything about the pier?
Have all the fines been paid? Is that what?
Yeah, that's an old story. Lee is right. I don't know if that's the total amount, but Lee is right about that. That the town, it's a different story, a whole different story.
The fines. No, the town did not settle with. Terry paid every single penny we could prove that he owed. The town, like everyone else, lost records. Our town attorney said this is as much as we can prove he owes.
Yeah.
It wasn't that we settled from $2 million down to whatever he paid. It was this is what we could legally prove that he owes.
Right.
So he paid every penny
something.
of it.
Yeah, he paid what you guys felt like you could defend yourself in getting from him. And the other, if we're talking about the other thing is the illegal parking guy is still out there raking in money, and the town let him off the hook once.
They did not let him off the hook.
Well, what I think
he paid his fine.
He paid his fine, and then the town backs off on the
nope
on the foreclosure on his property because he
Yes.
paid his fine.
You have to, yeah. He paid his fine, so
But
he came
it
in.
just seems like the guy can continue that cycle. Let me just keep it a parking lot. I'll pay the fine, cost of doing business.
That's one of the things on my list when we go up to Tallahassee to talk about is what can we do from state legislation to help us with that. Because if someone has the money, they can just keep going through this process.
Can't you raise the fines more?
You can, by state law, you can only, like right now, he's being charged $500 a day.
As a repeat offender.
That's the max you can do by state statute. So in order to prevent bad actors, as the vice mayor will say, you have to be able to make it hurt. And if people have the money to be able to afford $500 a day and pay it off and start again,
that's peanuts for him.
I don't know. I don't know his financial situation,
probably,
but
what,
I don't know.
10
I don't know a
parking
lot of
spots?
people that $500 a day doesn't hurt.
Well, I'm sure it does. There's no cost in that. It's a cash business. It seems like he hasn't stopped. Why can't the town put a big sign that says illegal parking lot, do not park here on the town's right of way?
Because we don't own any right of way there. That's
You don't
all
own the
county.
the county owns the
County
sidewalk?
owns the sidewalk.
Or why not pay a little kid to hold up a sign that says illegal parking lot or
Hey,
something like
drop it down from a drone.
Yeah, right. No,
Right.
no.
Yeah, there's
don't
plenty
talk
in New
about it, no.
Jersey.
Yeah,
don't do that.
get one of
Do you
those
think-
New Jersey drones.
Do you think those drones are from a mothership off of New
I
Jersey,
have no-
Iranian mothership?
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
who comes up with that kind of stuff?
I mean, I haven't had a lot of time to. I'm
You're not
obviously I've
paying
heard about
attention
it,
to the drones. They're
I'm
taking
paying-
over the
we got a-
country,
you know, we got
Dan.
a 700-800 page packet of.
I know.
some
I love
very
it.
Good sized
I
developments.
love it
coming.
when
We
the
gotta-
agendas are so
He'll
long.
never come out of the bathroom reading those
Yeah.
things.
I love
mean,
reading
my
all those
Lord,
things.
800 pages. He'll be in there for days.
So, Dan, do you think that doing interviews like this are unethical?
No.
That's it? You don't want to elaborate on that? I
No.
think that I just want to see if he wants to talk
No, I
about
think
it
it's,
at all.
you know, it's public information. It's,
Yeah.
you know, we're in a public office. Any information
This
that
is a
goes on in town
public-
hall is public information.
Right.
We're
I think there
gathering
was,
in a public place.
and the reason I'm bringing this up is Councilwoman Woodson said that interviews and social media posts can be unethical, or she wants it to be part of the new ethics book that apparently the town manager is putting together. And so I don't want to misidentify how it was said the other day at the town council meeting, but it seemed like it was a clear shot at you doing interviews on this show, because you don't really do a ton of interviews. I mean, once in a while Wink calls you, but
I can't speak as to what Councilor Woodson was
see,
referring
here's
to.
the thing, that if you're not allowed to talk about Seagate, or you're not allowed to, or nobody ever talks about those things, then what's happening is you're all meeting privately with the developers, and then the public has no idea what you're talking about because we're not allowed to ask you questions. I'm saying if we did it that way, you never came on the show and there was a cone of silence, then the public would never know what's going on.
The public, my interpretation of what she was referring to was the fact that sometimes, and she's right, sometimes I get calls from people saying, "Hey, did you hear about this?" And I hadn't even heard about it yet. So how information gets out, I've had you call me several times saying, "Hey, what's going on with this?" And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't heard yet. So sometimes things happen. So that's the world we live in now.
Right.
You have people are everywhere. And when things happen and they see things now, I think what
I
she
guess
was
the thing
referring to
is he or any other outlet supposed to be quiet till the town
Well,
puts it out then? I mean,
There was certain things that, and listen, just to be clear, there's never been anybody on the town payroll that has leaked me any information. Nobody has. There's no leaking of information to me, and I would never put a town employee in that position. I have too much respect for this town government to do that. I don't want anyone to get in trouble. We have a great relationship with Nicole, who's the PIO. Every time I ask her for stuff, she sends me what I need, or, you know, I understand how that works. There's a certain, but you also have to understand that I know how to dig for shit. I know how to find stories and know how to ask people what's going on. They don't always answer me. which is fine. That's part of the game. But it would be like saying that Brian Hammond couldn't talk about the sheriff's budget because they're going to eventually come up with it. Well, he's trying to make a point with the sheriff's budget. He wants the sheriff's budget to be more transparent. He wants everybody to see what's going on with the sheriff. He wants there to be a total transparency. When you talk about Seagate, I feel like you want people to know what your opinion is because you're trying to determine your interpretation of the land development code and the comprehensive plan and convince other people. What's wrong with that? There's not another council member sitting here. You're not doing it illegally.
Well, we're all accountable for what we say, what we post. I mean, there's big things when you go through the 4-hour ethics training every year. That is a big part of it. They talk about be careful with social media, be careful with interviews, be careful what you say, because you are held accountable. Doesn't say you can't do it or that you shouldn't do it. It just says
and you should be held accountable.
You should be held accountable, right? I mean, and I think part of the message was, the PIO is there for a reason. Her job is to get out information. I've had you call me. I've had other news outlets call me and say, hey, we're hearing this. Can you confirm it? And my answer has always been the same. You can verify this. Has always been, you'll see a PIO. You'll see our PIO will put something out soon. That's all I ever say, because it is her job. Some information should come from the PIO.
Right.
It shouldn't come from me. Now, if somebody sends an email and if someone requests that email or someone shares an email,
okay, but there also needs to be a distinction between what a PIO sends out and what a reporter digs for. She's not going to do certain things that I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Right. That's not her job. Her job is to promote the town, get positive information out about the town. Not all information's positive. From a reporter's standpoint, how would she send something out about the trailers other than the fact that there is something on the agenda tomorrow to talk about it? I'm trying to get enough information out there so people know what's going on in the meeting if they want to go to the meeting. I mean,
it's all information. I mean, it's not like you're getting
Skippy.
It's not like you're getting secret documents. I mean,
no, there's no such thing.
There's nothing nefarious. I mean, it sounds very glamorous, but I can tell you nothing. No,
and the other thing that I think,
to my knowledge,
I think most people understand is Florida is the most liberal, and I don't say that in a negative way, has the most liberal sunshine laws. Nothing is private in Florida. The minute, if you watched the meeting the other day, it was interesting because Jim Inc. had pictures of 1801 Estero, which is the Hoosiers building. And Jim Adderholt, the vice mayor, asked him to see the pictures. And I knew watching the meeting, the minute that somebody on the town council touches that piece of paper, it's mine. I own it. I can see a picture of it because it's public. It becomes public information. The minute anything goes from a committee member to a council member to a council member, a resident to a council member, whether it's an email or on their private phone, it's all public. You can't say anything is private. It doesn't exist in the state of Florida unless it's a negotiation with an attorney. That's the only thing.
I don't think the argument is being made that it's not. I think, and again, I don't want to speak for Councilor Woodson. She can answer for herself. If you want to ask her what she meant by it. I don't know what she meant, but what I kind of took out of it was, to your point, everything, once it hits an email, every time someone touches it, if an attorney, whatever, it becomes public information. Doesn't mean that the PIO should send out every single piece of information, right?
No, the city clerk.
If people do the digging, and I think what Karen was referring to is sometimes, I've said it how many times to you, you have become like a part-time job for me, sometimes tamping down some of the social media stuff that isn't true. Like, I go back to the original one. I got confirmation that the Matanzas Pass Bridge fell in the storm. Well, I'm staring at it.
I never said that.
I'm not saying you, but my point, I'm just using that as an example because, it had the Santa.
Wait, you're saying that you need to confirm it with me before I post it, not false information. I want to be clear, but you're damaging my reputation.
No, I'm not damaging your reputation.
Not reputation.
It's, we call it the Coconut Telegraph for a reason.
Yeah.
It'll start out as a glass of water on the south end. By the time it hits Bowditch, it's 15 pails of water have spilled on the you know what I mean?
Right.
So it just gains speed. So it's literally a part-time job trying to just
the thing, sometimes you'll hear a council member saying, well, the sunshine laws they're so onerous on us that we can't talk to each other. And I look and I laugh and I say, yeah, because the state is trying to prevent not you guys, but everybody from doing things behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. That does happen, unfortunately, in other governments and things like that. And Florida has been the best at making sure it doesn't happen. And it still happens. People at the county level have gone to jail for corruption and things like that. It's just, and this is the best town council. I love this town council. They're open. They're honest with people. sometimes they make decisions that the people don't like, but
Oh,
they
sure,
know
it's part
where
of life.
everybody stands
Sure.
on things. And just to finish up on, like, if somebody in the audience wants
He's on
emails,
a
like
roll.
let's say the Hotkas want emails that have everything to do with Seagate. All they need to do is send an email to the town clerk
Public
and say, I want
information
all the
requests.
emails on Seagate between the town council members. And she may say, this is going to take me a week and it's going to cost you,
Right.
because you can ask for one piece of paper and Amy will send it to you for free. But if you ask for, like, I know there are people asking for all the Seagate information, that's time involved. You
A
have
lot
to
of
pay
time.
for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have paid for that at the county level because there's some things that do take a lot of time. But there's nothing that's private. You can't ever claim that anything between any of the council members or committee members or the public and the council
So
is
to
private.
sum it
It's
up,
never
no
private.
one's leaking
The only-
anything.
there's
to
no
you. You're
leaker.
digging it.
There's
all
no leaker.
yourself.
The only quote
We
unquote
could have
private
saved ourselves
meetings that
the
can
last
happen
10
outside of the
minutes.
sunshine with
I
the
know.
council members.
Right.
It's called a shade meeting, and it's for litigation purposes. And even that is recorded. And once the litigation of mediation is complete, that becomes public knowledge. So even
Yeah.
what you're talking about in what they call a shade meeting, which is legal,
Yes.
that eventually that comes out too.
They
That's
should
right.
call it
There
something
needs,
else.
at some
'cause it
point,
sounds
whatever
bad.
comes as a result of the shade meeting has
Sounds
to
like
be
shady.
Has to be
put on the
public.
record.
It has to be put on the.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
there's always a court reporter.
All
there
right,
taking your
moving
minutes.
on.
I know. I just last point on this. I know Greg is watching, and Kim, one of the Kims, has asked for all the communications on Seagate. And I saw the request, and they haven't heard back from Amy because I'm sure the request is massive. There's so much communication on that project.
Still
That's
getting it.
but they didn't get any response like, hey, this is going to take me a while, or this is going to cost you $500, whatever it is, because there's so much time involved. And so I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. They asked on Monday and they haven't heard back yet. So I'm sure she's very busy, by the way. 700 page agendas.
Everybody's pretty busy.
Yeah.
But she'll
So-
get it to you. I don't know that there's a state statute that says the time.
No, well, yes, it has.
Is there? I
It's
don't
a
know.
reasonable time. It's kind of vague, but it
Depends
says a
on the
reasonable
size of the
time.
request.
But
It
she's
makes
always
sense.
been good at responding. Say, hey, I'll get this to you on Tuesday or Wednesday, or she's out or something like that. She's very good at that, and I appreciate that relationship we have with the town office.
You have no relationship.
None at all. No, I did kind of feel like I got the cold shoulder from the town staff at the tree festival
Oh my
thing.
God.
I don't know why.
He's
So
been
are they mad at me?
crying
Or-
about
Are they mad at me
this.
over
I
something?
didn't see what you're talking
Can you
about.
look that up? Can you run that up the flagpole to make sure we're good? Sure. I don't want to make anybody mad at the town trailers, the legal town trailers, by the way. That
Since
won't
when have
have
you
to be
cared
moved.
about that?
No kidding.
So tomorrow is a big day. Otherwise, we have which could be the
You have
start
3 minutes.
of a new town of Fort Myers Beach. Final vote on Seagate is tomorrow. Have you changed your mind at all on how you feel about it?
Well, how I feel has not changed when it comes to people coming out and speaking for or against something on any project. Technically you get 9 minutes in a meeting. If there's a public hearing, you can have 3 at the beginning, 3 at the end in the public comments, and then 3 minutes during the public hearing to have your public comment. Now, during the public comment part of the hearing, if you want it on the record, then it has to be during the public hearing portion of the public comment. Doesn't mean you can't get up at the beginning public comment and say what you want to say. Or if you can't fit it all in 3 minutes, you can spread it out over 9 minutes if you want, or 6 minutes, however you want to break it up. But I strongly encourage people to come out, whether you're for or against any project that we're voting on, because we do listen.
Your
We
answer
do.
had
But
nothing
you're-
to do with
right.
my question. Your
Have you
answer had-
changed your opinion? Have you
no, I
changed
answered
how
it.
you vote? How
I
you're going to
answered it.
vote tomorrow?
I answered it. Well, you'll find out how I vote tomorrow, but
He's being a little more. I think he's being a little more.
Keeping it close
he's
to the
keeping
vest?
it close to the vest.
Well-
Dan was the only no vote in the first two. Did you vote no in the previous 2 or 1?
no, I've
Okay.
been a no vote to this point.
Is it your opinion that do you feel like this town council has let the community down on this issue?
It hasn't been resolved. So we could talk about it after we vote on it.
I didn't ask you about the issue specifically. I asked you, do you feel like the town council has let the community down?
That's a tough one for me to answer.
Kevin, what do you think?
I don't.
Yes or no?
I think we all put in a lot of time. We all put in, and we all have different opinions, and we all interpret things differently, and we all have reasons why we vote yes or we vote no. So to say that they let people down, I wouldn't use that. I wouldn't say that. I think they wouldn't be. No one signed up to do this job to let people down. Again, they may have a disagreement on how a project goes or doesn't go, but I don't think that people haven't always liked the way I vote. It doesn't mean that they feel I've let them
Do you
down.
think that this
No.
project presents enough public benefit to the town?
Well, we'll see tomorrow. We'll see
I
tomorrow
would
because it's
say-
changing again.
Based on your previous votes, that would be a no.
My previous votes were because I don't feel it is in line with the comprehensive plan. I didn't feel it
Fair
was
enough.
consistent. I'm sure there's going to be different changes. There's still
Okay.
going to be talks tomorrow, so we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Do you worry at all that if that project is approved, that there'll be lawsuits?
That's not something you have to take into consideration when you're.
I'm not saying. We're just
in
shooting
this-
the shit
well,
here,
in
just the
this-
three
in
of
this
us.
day and age, no
Nobody's
matter
watching.
What decision you make, there could be a lawsuit on either side. You could vote for a project and you get sued by this group. You could vote against it and the
Get
applicant
sued by
sue
the
you. So
right.
you can't make decisions out of fear of litigation. At least in my mind, you can't. You got to look at the criteria that's in front of you. Does it meet the criteria to grant an approval, or do you have to deny it? That includes the LPA. That includes staff. That includes public comment.
Wait, there's an LPA that you guys pay
There-
attention to?
Yeah, I believe it or
so-
not, everybody pays attention. May not always agree
No,
with
I-
the decision, but
right.
everybody pays
So,
attention.
so there's a piece of property across the street. If you want me to stop asking you questions about Seagate, just tell me and I will. I don't want to waste your time. But there's a piece of property that Gulf,
Nobody's going to launch into it anyways.
but
No, it's fine.
Gulfview Colony owns a beach access across the street.
Yes.
Now, Matt said he's out of the contract with Gulfview Colony, yet that piece of property, that beach access across the street, is through your park. That not your park, but the park that he has proposed in the
Well,
Seagate
it's
plan.
through their property, yes.
Okay, so does that drastically change the entire proposal that you would have to say now you're giving us a proposal with property you don't own, and that's through a park that you're putting on this plan? What is your
Well, I think it certainly adds another dynamic to the request, right? I don't know if that's been, for all we know, that could have been resolved. I have no way of knowing until tomorrow when we hear the
I see.
testimony. So is it a different dynamic? Do people know about it? Has it been publicized? Sure. Now, again, that could have changed. That could be changing right now as we're sitting here speaking. So until we know tomorrow for sure
I see
what exactly
okay.
we're talking
Right.
about,
So if Seagate makes a proposal that says they've resolved the beach access that Gulfview Colony owns across the street, does that drastically change the proposal where you have to now say, okay, now we need a second hearing for the new proposal? Or is it too small?
well, nothing's too small, especially when you're talking a development.
Yeah.
Like this. I mean, this is a generational
That's
development.
probably a
but-
lawyer question.
Yeah, I
He's a lawyer.
yeah, right. Maybe I should have been. I don't, no, it definitely changed the dynamics. Now, I don't know how Seagate,
How
like
much?
again, if they've resolved it by tomorrow, if they've got an alternative plan now that they're going to propose because they don't own it, I
Yeah.
don't know what those details are yet.
Yeah. So generally speaking, how come you don't believe that this proposal followed the land development code and the comprehensive plan? They certainly did. You have a development agreement in place. They put a development agreement in place and proposed it. I mean, that's following your plans.
It is, yes, but it's more than just following with the comprehensive plan. Are they allowed to ask for what they want to ask for? Certainly. Doesn't mean we have to agree that what they're asking for
Right.
meets the criteria to grant approval, right? Or denial. So the first two hearings, I didn't feel, and it's changed. Every hearing, what they've proposed has changed a little bit. It's changed
Based on things that the town has asked them to
yeah, based
put
on the
in there.
conversation from the public. And so I have no doubt that tomorrow things are probably going to change one way or another. Now, is it going to be enough to get a unanimous vote one way or another, or a split vote, or
They only
won't
need
know
3
until-
votes,
we
right?
Won't, we won't know until tomorrow, but we'll
So
see what they come up with.
three votes, and this is a done deal. They only need 3 votes.
If they get a majority approval on this, yes,
They
then
move
it's-
forward
then
with
it's
the
Well, they
project.
still have to go. They're done with the town approval process of it. They still
gotta
have
go-
to go through
Mhm.
Southwest Florida
Kevin.
Management District. They've still got a lot of other.
I have a
things
question
to-
for you.
They still have a lot of things to go through. This is just the first
Right,
step.
right. And this thing is, even if it's approved tomorrow, it's 5 to
It's
some
going to
years
be.
away.
I think. I don't want to put word in Matt's mouth, but I think he
Yeah.
said probably looking at 18 months to 2 years before you'll see a
Right.
shovel go in the ground by the time you get through the other.
You can't see
The
him
other-
on Facebook, but Kevin Sullivan is here, and Kevin is here every Sunday. And you spoke at public comment against the project last public hearing. What are your thoughts on how the town council has dealt with this?
Well, I've been consistent. I just don't think some of the counselors are listening to the constituents and probably most importantly, the neighbors of the property.
Yeah. And so what do you think you'll see tomorrow? Do you think people are still jacked up about going, or you think they've kind of just thrown in the towel and thinking nobody's listening and we're moving on?
Well, I think the people that have been forced out of their homes in the neighborhood that are temporarily living out of the neighborhood, they're not coming back. They've already said that.
Okay.
But I think the residents will be there tomorrow to voice their opinions.
Were you unimpressed with the last turnout of people that came to speak?
Well, there were only 25 people that spoke out, and there were another 20 people that didn't spoke that were in against. That's what one of the counselors said.
It was more 25 to 5.
No, I was very impressed with it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, 25 is it's not the biggest crowd you've ever had, but it's a decent crowd and a small trailer.
Well,
thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that this morning.
What is the right number of people to come out? I mean, who knows?
Well, I don't
right?
know. I mean, again, it comes down to this one aspect of
but it's
the
not
reason to
just,
approve or
yeah,
deny it.
when the town council is making the decisions, it's not just based on the public opinion.
Well, and this is why I keep saying, and I know I keep
I mean,
harping on the same
it's an
thing, is
important,
whether you're
it's
for or
certainly an
against a
important-
project, send us emails, send us a letter, call us, do whatever you have to do to let us know. If no one tells us how they feel, you're leaving it up to the 5 people.
Yeah.
you
Right,
elected
but
to
if
do
you
it.
It is your
tallied,
decision
wait a
at the
minute,
end
if
of
you
the day.
tallied it all up and it's not as simple as tallying it all up and saying, oh, all right, well, there's 900 people that say yay and 400 that say
Well,
no, then that's it.
One of the questions that the vice mayor always asks, and I think it's a right question to ask in a lot of these hearings that we go through, whether it's residential, whatever, is what are the neighbors? How do the neighbors feel? And their opinion matters. I mean, you just look at when we were talking about doing the upland facility behind the town hall. Tropical Shores came out in Forest and said, we strongly oppose this.
Well
and
organized,
it
yep.
changed the direction of that project.
Yeah.
Because in
It
paper,
doesn't seem to be doing that in this situation.
well,
though.
it might or might not. We'll find out tomorrow. But
You're
again,
right there. It
I
doesn't.
think it's important.
That neighborhood is
whether
against
you're,
it.
Whether you're, most people don't come out one way or another. I mean, I have people that will stop me on the street and say I'm either for or against something, but I just don't feel like putting anything on paper, or I don't feel like speaking in public comment.
Yes.
But I want to tell you in person that I'm for or against something. That counts too. I mean, it's all part of that ex parte communication that you can talk to someone on the street. So it's important for people, again, for or against. Usually you only hear a lot of noise when somebody's against something, not for something. But I think if you're for something, it's just as important to get your opinion out there as it is to not, because otherwise you're relying on the 5 people that you elected to be able to understand or think what you want. Now, most of us, we're all out in the public all the time. All of us are out in the public all the time. So you kind of get the vibe of what people think and don't think. And
Okay, so the question to you is, overall, from the vibe, from the people that you talk to, from the feedback that you get, are you getting 50-50? Are you getting, oh my gosh, too big? Are you getting, I know everybody loves Seagate. That's not the issue. The issue is everybody wants to do business with Seagate. Even the people that are opposed to it love Matt. They love Seagate. They just,
I don't know that
they're just afraid of the height.
I'll answer your question very simply. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I've had more people opposed to the project as it's currently proposed than for it by a large margin. And that's the communication that I've had. And it's emails, it's stopping me on the street. Have I had people that are in favor of it? Sure.
So yeah, we have too. I mean, and mostly like this. I wish I'm okay with the Seagate thing, but don't tell anybody.
Well, and I think
Why?
That's my point.
Why?
That's my point. Even if you're for
You can
something,
be in
come
favor
and
of
talk about it. Come and talk about it.
Well-
or offer, if nothing else, come and talk about it. And if you don't like something, offer solutions. Right? Don't just come and scream and say I hate it and I don't want anything, because that's not going to happen.
But I also do think there is some
Or
validity.
say I want what we used to have, because that just cannot happen.
It's not.
They're not getting
I think
RV
people are
park back.
People are past that. They understand, and I think
Not
that there
everybody.
are people that understand that things are going to have to change, and they're not going to be exactly what they were. But I think people are also saying it doesn't mean we have to sell our souls to the first person. or the
I
second
believe there
person or
is some
third person.
validity.
There's got to be some
I
happy
I've said
medium
it- I've tried to
between
mention
3
that.
stories and 17.
But the other thing too is I think there is a decent argument for people that say, okay, you got Moss Marina, maybe the pink shell, maybe red coconut, and then the outrigger, whatever they come up with over there. And then really that's it. You're not creating
think there's a lot
gigantic
of-
swaths of land to build these big
If
buildings.
you listen to Judith at the MMP meeting,
Who?
Judith,
Oh, Judith. She's on
our
your
plan-
staff.
yeah.
Gotcha.
there's a stack of development coming down the line. Obviously, nobody had heard
But
about.
nobody has 10 acres.
but it's still development. My point is there's
Yeah.
still development happening.
Because all
It's
the buildings are gone.
It's not all about just the big
Yeah.
properties. It's the
Right.
smaller properties too, which is what those are the ones that are coming out of the ground faster. Right?
Yeah.
Those are the ones you're going to see open sooner rather than later. Nobody even heard or knew about the one that Jim Inc. showed until that meeting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then she's like, we have other ones in the pipeline that are trying to do the same thing. I just saw an email came through. It's public record if you want to request it for an ice cream shop in Times Square that's got plans that they're working on. So it's people.
Is it
there's-
17 stories in the air?
No, it's
I mean,
3 stories.
17
It's-
feet. Sorry, I didn't mean that. I got 17
It's-
stories on my head. I mean 17 feet.
No, there was no details other than it looks like it fits within the footprint. and,
Ice cream shop in Florida is never going to fly, man.
In Times Square?
Times Square. Remember where
One
the
standing
old
17-story
Kilwins was?
ice cream
Yeah.
shop.
Right there.
Holy shit!
Okay.
How do you get up there?
But
There was
that
an ice cream
building's
shop.
You get
there.
a cone on
No,
every
it's
level.
gone.
Okay.
That building's gone. So it'd be a new. It'd
Yeah.
be a
New
new
building.
building. Yeah.
Did you say which property? Does it say which piece?
Well,
It-
if you
it
have
looked-
if you put the street
Yeah,
in,
let him
maybe they
answer
could
that.
put a
It was
drive-through in the
it's
ice
the
cream
cult-
place.
the Kilwins property. where the
Oh, okay,
Kilwins was.
cool. Yeah. So, oh shoot, I had a great question on the tip of my tongue, but the Alzheimer's
people are-
kicked in again.
There is things going on in the background. Development is happening and
Yeah.
it's coming forward.
Yeah.
It's
You just need more
ironing out a
sleep.
few
Oh,
things.
I
Like
know
Jim
what it
Inc.
was.
needed a little clarification on the parking and the right of way thing. To be able to move that project forward, he needed counsel.
Right.
Staff needed counsel to
Minor
refine
thing.
it. Right.
Yeah. So Jim, when Jim Inc. and Albert get together, you know they're doing great things. I mean, they design nice buildings. They know what the code is. I mean, and so I get pictures of this. Once they passed around the picture, and then I texted Albert. I said, "Dude, you got to send me the digital pictures because I'm gonna post a picture of it. It's gonna look like shit. So send me the digital picture so it looks nice." And they sent me 3 different pictures. It looks nice, and I thought, wow. They're going to use that existing structure that's standing there where Hoosiers was, and they're going to transform that into that building. It looks so nice. And then people are still complaining it's not the right color. It's like you can never make anybody happy.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it. Look at it now. You can walk through the building. It's just nobody's.
You're never.
I would just want one
You're never gonna
building
make
where everybody's
everybody-
like,
Never.
"Oh
Well,
my god, I
That's
love
not
it."
going to happen. That's not going to happen.
The beach bar is probably the only one so far, and the whale.
If you get into this job to get pats on the backs and hugs and kisses, you're in the wrong profession.
Right.
That's for sure.
Well, this job, that's
Yeah.
all we get is pats on the back and
Yeah.
hugs and kisses. I
You
like
must
the
be-
French kisses more than anything. Not from the dudes, though. So,
cookie.
yeah. So I bought these things. Speaking of Cookie, she's yelling at me. You got to get these sticky things for the dog, for Cookie, our bulldog, to put on the bottom of the dog's feet.
Yeah,
so
to
I went
give
on Amazon
traction.
and I bought these booties that have little things on the bottom.
He
So
bought-
now I'm chasing her around the house, trying to get them on the bottom of her feet, and she's biting me now to
Yeah,
try and get these
she-
things on. Why
No.
did you want me to buy those things?
Because her legs slide because her back is so sore. So they're
Oh, I thought they
thin.
were for her.
No, they're
No.
stickers. They're stickers.
She lets me put
No, I
things
meant
on the bottom
I
of
heard
her feet.
The moccasin things.
No, you put the little. They're like stickers, but you bought like snow boots. She's
Yeah.
not gonna wear those. So I
She's
put
gonna
them
look
on
so
the other
cool in
dog,
those things.
We
and
need-
the
we
other
need to-
dog just hobbled around now
Do you
on
get
3
cold?
legs.
Are your
I'm
feet
like,
ever
this
get
isn't
cold?
working.
Kim, do you ever get cold feet or like slippers? or
I
anything?
did 30 years ago, but
Not
I was
anymore.
roofied into walking down the aisles. So
What? Wait a second. That's a date drug, isn't it? How
That's
dare
a-
you?
That's the.
Is that why you were calling me P. Diddy on our wedding night?
Oh. Things just took a turn. Yeah.
No, and I want to thank everybody for all the weddings, the the Christmas suggestions. I did it again this year where I blocked her from our page, and you guys made these great suggestions for Christmas. And every year she goes, "Oh, don't
I'm
buy me anything,
nervous.
don't buy me anything," and I'm like,
Nervous.
"Okay, yeah, that works well." I mean,
Yeah.
why put up a Christmas tree if you're not going to put presents under it? I mean, it's
Well,
so dumb.
You
should have-
didn't
you
put up
should
a
have-
Christmas tree.
You
I
should,
did.
You should have Craig and Michelle send you down some Minnesota moccasins. Megan.
There you
Oh,
go.
nice, very nice.
There you
Yeah,
go.
can you send me a pair? Nice. What do they run? Minnesota moccasins. What?
Take you up
He's
ice
not
fishing.
going
We should
ice
go up do-
fishing.
No, not
He
ice
doesn't
fishing.
go
show.
regular
No,
fishing.
I don't want it. When people go, when it was 70 degrees last
got
night.
an
I had a
soft
beanie
paper.
hat on. It was so cold out in the backyard.
No, these
All
are
right,
all
let's
heated.
let him go
They're
for
heated.
his
You can
family.
like if you go
No,
to northern
not doing
Minnesota, you could get in a heated vehicle. It takes you to a heated shanty.
Listen.
you go out and you ice fish. He's
I-
like, no.
When I lived in upstate New York and it turned into like September, October, November, it's nothing but depression.
Yeah.
It's so cold. The first snow is nice, and then the snow just sits there, and then it's slush, and then it's mud, and it's ugly, and the cars get stuck, in the snow, and It's just depressing. It's depressing. No, it's just all you do is drink. And then you come to the beach and all you do is drink. I mean, but you're happy drinking. You do happy drinking on the beach. So
but your yellow truck doesn't bring you depression?
No, my yellow truck. I love the yellow truck.
That up north and spread
Everybody,
the sunshine up there.
Dan, you're the only one that's criticized it. Everybody yesterday, everybody at the tree festival and at the show yesterday said they love the truck. And they're probably just
they're like,
I know they're
making
probably
fun of you.
And so Dan,
like,
you know what Dan says?
Like
hey, by the way, the back yellow doesn't match the side yellow. I just want you to know that the colors don't match. I mean, that's the only thing you noticed was the yellows don't match.
I told you, I can walk into anyone's house and tell you what picture is crooked in 30 seconds.
Really?
That'd be easy in our house.
How did he come up with this disease? I mean, what is? Did he drink water from that had rust in it or something? Or
I could see things that are out of plumb, out of level.
Out of plumb. What does that mean?
Up and down.
Out of plumb.
Like and he can, a plumb line,
and he can build a wooden tree in 2 days. Which tree got the most money? Thank you. Ding, ding, ding. What do you think? Was it the big white tree? That big white tree was going for.
I know some did get the buy it now price, and then a couple people gave them back to get bid on again. So.
We did.
Wow.
Who won the second drawing? We were supposed to do the second drawing on the air, and you blew me off for that. I mean. You were in the back making drinks or something.
Why are you asking her all these questions?
For those of you that didn't hear, she said, I was so tired of you at that point. No, we did the first drawing for $500 and we called the lady on the phone and put her on the show at the same time. And you know what she did? She gave the $500 back to the women's club, which was very nice. Very nice.
Did the Whale. The Whale gave their winnings back.
So I'm going to run to the restroom while you talk about the bike parade, and don't do anything creepy with my wife here when I leave her alone. I know sometimes people like to give her hugs and kisses.
Just wrap it up?
No, he's going to talk about the bike parade, and then I got to read ads. I got to read ads. So go ahead.
So the bike parade.
Yeah. So next Saturday we've got our annual bike parade. It's called Pedals and Presents.
How many years is it now?
7. I want to say 7.
Sorry.
This is. Obviously, Ian, the year of Ian, we couldn't do it, but this is if you don't count Ian, this is our 7th year, or if you count Ian, this would be our 7th year. But this year we're going to do it a little bit bigger. Before it was pretty unorganized. We just decorated a bunch of bikes, put it out on our personal social media page, and people showed up, and it kind of grew to like 75, 80 bikes, and then obviously the hurricane hit, and then we brought it back in 2023, and I want to say we had close to 80 bikes again. So this year we wanted to step it up and make it a little bit bigger and still make it a fun, free event for people. So we reached out to some sponsors to see if they would be interested in helping get some money raised to bring in some music and make it a more fun event. So Snug Harbor, Wahoo Willie's, and Nervous Nellies came in and sponsored the band that will be playing on Saturday the 21st at Bayside Park, here Bayside Veterans Park, from 4 to 6. So we'll start meeting down here about 4 o'clock. Decorating your bikes.
But so people, you can bring a bicycle.
You can bring a bicycle,
it can be
golf cart, scooter,
electric, non-electric.
I've heard the Grinch is going to make his appearance and his big wheel again this year. So, people, it's fun. People come dressed in every kind of costume you could think of. Santa will be there, Mrs. Claus, the Grinch,
and
Cindy
it's not
Lou
like a
Who.
race. You're going at a slow pace.
So we play Christmas music. We originally started it as going up and down the streets, and we used to ride through Red Coconut, and all the kids and everybody in there loved it, and we would stop and sing songs, and then it kind of just evolved into playing music. And so obviously a lot of the side streets were damaged, so we've kind of changed it. And where we started, we used to start down by the Junkanoo area, and then we'd go through Red Coconut, and we'd work our way up, and then we'd kind of end in Times Square, Peach Time Out area.
I know Ed almost caught himself on fire one year.
So we've got caught in a lot of fire.
So
from 4 to 6, there'll be the band that'll be playing here. I don't know which local band we're going to have here playing, but so they're going to be playing until 6. We'll take off from here. We'll head up Old San Carlos. We'll head down Estero Boulevard towards Diamond Head, where we'll turn around and make our way back and end at Margaritaville, where everybody's invited to go upstairs. Then at 7:30, from 7:30 to 10, the Ben Allen Band will be playing up there. It's a free concert. The only thing we're asking, and they'll be able to store your bikes in their valet area, golf carts, whatever. They've got an area that they'll set up to put it where it's secure, so you can go upstairs and have fun. The only thing we ask is if you can bring a free or bring a new unwrapped toy for the Beach Kids Foundation. Everything that we get will go to the Beach Kids Foundation. So Margaritaville sponsor, Beach Talk Radio, Sea Gypsy Vacation Rentals, Jorge. Who else? Let me think. I know I'm forgetting. I said,
But you have
CGC.
room for more.
Yeah, we had unfortunately.
Oh yes.
Unfortunately, we had one sponsor back out this week. Kind of went radio silent on us, so we're about $1,500 short. Amy and Chris Lowry stepped up.
Rick.
I'm sorry, Rick and Amy Lowry stepped up and donated $500 of the $2,000 that we were short. So if there's anybody out there that wants to sponsor the event, unfortunately, in full disclosure, it's going to be too late to get your name on the banners. We got a big banner that's going to go up there.
Right.
I know you're pushing out all the information.
So really, we're looking
Eagle Eye Aluminum. They're another sponsor.
We're looking for $1,500 to help
Yeah.
cover the rest of the cost because we had a sponsor that backed out of the
There you
event.
go.
And Studio AD just popped in and said he'll take it.
Well, thank you,
Albert, we owe you, man. Big time. He always
Yeah.
does that. He's
So
right on top of it.
That money that is going to go to pay Tektronix, who's a local company that they own the ranch and they do all the stuff, all the big concert events. They're the ones that do the staging. So it's going to be a big event. There's going to be a big stage. It's going to be a big lighting. I mean, so
We
this
have
money
a
will
disco
go to-
light that someone sent
So-
us that we
So
can
Albert,
donate.
make your check out to Tektronix. That's who it'll be going to.
And we'll get you the address to send it. And
Thank you.
maybe
So
he can,
that's
so
maybe,
nice.
maybe he
Thank
can
you.
bring a banner to put on the stage because he did this at the last minute to help
certainly.
out.
Or we can, maybe I can
Maybe
get time
he
to.
can architect
Oh,
you a real
uh,
decorated bike.
Bella Printing, Lonnie and his company, he stepped up to do the printing for us. Obviously, Island Carts, we sponsored some, and so did Ride F&B, our bike side of the golf cart company. So other than that, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody else. I have my notes, but again, I left them at home. But
All right.
if I forgot someone, I know you have the list. If you could
Yep.
put it out there
Yeah.
for me to.
That's
So
next
hopefully
Saturday.
next
It's a huge
Saturday,
event.
it'll be
gonna
fun.
be
We'll have a
tons of
lot of
fun.
loud music. And
Listen, you don't have to be in the bike parade to come to the concert. You
No,
probably said
no.
that already. You
Yes.
can just park somewhere,
Yeah, if you
walk
wanna
up to the
park and come
concert, enjoy the
absolutely.
concert. The lawn at Margaritaville is an awesome place to watch the sunset,
Yeah.
or to have a drink, or to hang out with your friends. It's open to the public. Please use the walkover so Adderholt's happy when you're coming from the other side of the street.
Yeah, please. Even if you
walk
don't,
on the
like you
road.
said, even if you don't want to be involved in the bike parade,
Right.
I think you'll regret
Can
that decision
stand
because
on
it
the
is really
side
fun.
and cheer people
Yeah, but
on.
you could stand up on the deck and cheer people on from the side of the street, whatever. It's a really fun event, and let's fill that Margaritaville Terrace and fill those. My hope is that I have to beg, borrow, and steal people's trucks to bring all these toys to the
Nice.
Beach Kids
Yeah.
Foundation. So hopefully we'll see everybody next Saturday.
Dan, I do
All
want to
right.
say thank you. You make the show fun. You make it more than just informational. We can talk about other stuff, and you're always a good sport when Kim is nasty to you. So I really want to just say that
Yeah.
it's you help make the show entertaining, and we appreciate that as much as the information. And the people really do appreciate the information. Our audience watching online on Sunday is always bigger than our Saturday show, and that's no knock against the Saturday guests. I just think it proves that people want the information about what's going on the beach, the rebuild, and all these things that are coming up. And I do think the town council is doing a good a job as they can to try and balance and juggle all these different things that are going on. And Andy especially was the right guy at the right time for that job, man.
Yeah, I think we got a good mix of people that have obviously diverse backgrounds and different ideas, but that's how you get the best things out of it, right? You sit down in a room with a bunch of different people that have different thoughts, and you kick it around the table, and eventually what comes out is something that everybody can live with, and we're certainly hopeful. I also want to say thank you to Ben Allen Band. They took a discounted rate to be able to come out and play this. They wanted to be part of this, so those guys and Tektronic. Rusty he and his family were very good about they're going to be coming out and setting up stage, doing the music and all that
Sweet.
kind of stuff. So
Nice.
they took a discounted rate to be able to make this happen, and hopefully it goes as good as we're expecting, and next year will be even bigger and better.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the
Thank you.
mayor of Fort Myers Beach, Ben Allers. All right, before we go, I need to tell you about our sponsors. So don't hang up the phone because our sponsors make this show possible. And if it wasn't for them, it'd be Kim here with some ugly ass hair, that's for sure, because your donations and your sponsorship money makes that hair fabulous and flowing the way it is, including the Islands Pancake House, now open for business. And they are located in the Seagray Plaza. They serve breakfast and lunch. They're open 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. And Brian says, I'm willing to stay open longer if the demand is there. They have a bar, a full bar, which is really clutch when it comes to Fort Myers Beach. People want a bar. They want to drink with their pancakes because nothing is better than pancakes or waffles with a shot of scotch, baby. Check them out in the Seagray Plaza. or you can give Brian a call on his cell phone because, he's just hanging out making waffles and egg whites. 320-360-3826. 320-360-3826. Power Block Builders, because you know what? When you build a new house, you want to make sure it doesn't fall down because, that would never happen with Power Block Builders. They have over 35 years of structural experience. When you look for a builder, make sure it says structural experience. Because if they don't have structural experience, they'll just put it on 2x4s, and when the waves come by, that SOB's falling right in the drink right there. So structural experience is important. Power Block Builders. They have all their models online at powerblockbuilders.com. 239-849-1919. 239-849-1919. Is anybody watching the Green Bay Packers play today? Does anybody know who the Green Bay Packers play today? Anybody? Seattle. Oh, that should be a good game tonight. It's the 7:30 game. Well, if you want to watch the Green Bay Packers play football, you can go to Parrot Key because Parrot Key is the official Green Bay Packer bar. Right here, it's known as Lambeau South because South is southern from north. Yeah, get that right, wife. South. Parrot Key, waterfront dining at Salty Sam's Marina. It's island time all the time at Parrot Key. They have Sunday brunch from 9 a.m. to noon, so you have 37 minutes left to get your Sunday brunch. That includes a bottomless mimosa, thinking that has alcohol in it, and lobster eggs Benedict. Yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay at Parrot Key, Lambeau South. Check them out online, myparrotkey.com, myparrotkey.com. And finally today, Eagle Eye Aluminum, one of the sponsors of the bike parade. Tom and his lovely wife of 1 year, I think. They're coming up on 1 year. Maybe it's 6 months-ish. They're usually here on Sunday, but they had a family commitment. But Eagle Eye Aluminum specializes in seamless gutters and also aluminum and vinyl soffit and fascia repairs. They did the Hotka House, so if you're running by doing your jogging workout through the beach, you can see the back of their house, and it's fabulous. It's never going to fall down on you because Eagle Eye Aluminum was there pasting his stuff on there. He also does aluminum. He does the repairs to your screen, rather. You can rescreen so if your tent falls down and your back lanai and falls through the screen, give Tom a call. He'll come over to your house and fix it for you. 239-340-1639. 239-340-1639. Thank you all to our sponsors. Thank you to the mayor for being the mayor, and for being a nice guy. I think he's getting ready to whoop my ass. Thank you all for coming to Wahoo Willie's, and really thank you all for coming to the beach, spending your money. And take care of Erin, because next week is her birthday, and she's about to have a baby boy. It's a boy, right? So bring her some damn presents next week if you're coming here. Don't be a cheapskate. She needs something for the baby boy. Huh? Oh, we're not going to do a show next Sunday, everybody, because it's the Sunday before Christmas, and I need to start my Christmas shopping next Sunday. You all have a great day. Go Giants. Bye-bye.